Look, there are always going to be chances, but it's pretty fair to say it's a make-or-break year for Tua. We have seen quarterbacks make huge strides during their third season in the NFL. The Dolphins banking on that, and they've pretty much given Tua all the weapons he could want, taking some of the big moves, taking a look, I should say, at some of the big moves the Dolphins have made this offseason to help their quarterback in any way possible. Of course, at the very top, you got the cheetah Tyreek Hill to pair there with Jalen Waddle, also landing one of the top free agents in Teron Armstead, not to mention bringing in Connor Williams and running backs Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert. Let's welcome in Pete Prisco, who is in his element. He's left the dungeon that is his home. You got the sunshine there at Dolphins Minicamp in Davie, Florida. I know you're super excited about Tua. We're going to get to him in a second. But first, let's start at the top and work down. Dolphins entering their first season under new head coach Mike McDaniel. What's the vibe out there right now with all this, Pete?
You know, it's funny. Mike McDaniel 25 years ago would have walked in the room and they would have said he was the head coach. People would have said there's no chance that's the head coach. But things have changed. The game has evolved. It's now become, instead of the brutish old school guys, it's become the thinking man's game. And that's what Mike McDaniel is. He's a brilliant offensive mind, and he's going to instill a really good offensive system for the players here in Miami, here with the Dolphins. And they need to. They needed to change things. They need to make it easier. And what his scheme does, it makes it easier on the offensive lineman, it makes it easier on the quarterback, and it makes it easier on the running back. So I think this is a great situation for these young players to learn this system this offseason and then pick it up in the summer and just go from there, because it's perfect for what they want to do.
Easier on the quarterback. Let's dive into Tua. You were super excited. We talked to you yesterday to get out there and see exactly what he looked like in person. What are you seeing from Tua?
It's tough to evaluate the guys in these OTA days and these minicamp days, and today's one of their minicamp practices. By the way, it lasted about an hour and 30 minutes, if that. That's where we're headed now in the NFL. Here I'm talking like an old school guy, by the way. Tua rolled out on the goal line a couple times. They got him in some bootleg situations, threw high a couple times, threw wild a couple times. It wasn't great, but then they put him in the middle of the field and he fired a rifle shot down the middle to Jalen Waddle, which was an outstanding throw. Then underthrew a long ball, deep ball on the right sideline. So inconsistent, which is what we saw from him last year. And this team will only be as good as he is. Everybody knows that. It's all about Tua. And if you took what you saw today and you tried to translate to the field in the regular season, that looks like a team that will be lucky to get to 500.
Okay. So, would you say that's about what you expected heading out there today?
Yeah, and again, in fairness to the players in June, it's hard to evaluate, and particularly when you're putting in a new system. But I wanted to see a couple more stand in the pocket, make the throws down the middle of the field, which is something they have to do better. And we saw the boots. Look, the boots are easy throws for quarterbacks, and that's what I mean by Mike McDaniel making it easy on the quarterback. But ultimately, this game has to have throws from inside the pocket into the 20, 25-yard range, and we saw one of those. I got to see more of that from Tua going forward. Can he do it? To be determined. But this is a team with outside speed that can run. You got to use that down the middle of the field.
So let's talk about some of those weapons around him. More stable offensive line. You got Tyreek Hill now there. We talked to Tyler Sullivan this morning, and he's wondering how Mike McDaniel will use this running game to help Tua a little bit. I know you got to talk to Chase Edmonds some today. So tell us about the weapons around Tua.
Yeah, I think the weapons are outstanding. There's no excuse for Tua anymore. None. Zero. He's got a big-time tight end, Mike Gesicki. He's also got speed on the outside and Waddle. And Tyreek Hill makes teams change the way they play you. He puts the fear of God in defensive backs. You got to back off. That'll give opportunity in the middle of the field. And then you can hit those big shots to him. As far as the running game, look, Chase Edmonds, I talked to him today. He's excited about running the outside zone. He's never run it. He's done a lot of inside zone stuff. He says the outside zone system that they use here will really play to his strength, and they think it's going to be a big way for him to get those outside running lanes going in the run game. And if you run it, In this offense, it really makes it easy on the quarterback. So I think that's what they want to do. They want to be athletic on the offensive line. They have guys that can move. Teron Armstead isn't working right now, but he'll be the left tackle. Connor Williams, who they signed from Dallas, is working at center. He worked at center today. He can play guard and center. They want to be much more athletic up front with the offensive line.
Let's throw a little prop at you. Tyreek Hill plus 1,400, fifth in the odds right now to lead the league in receiving yards. Of course, part of that depends on his quarterback. What do you think about those odds?
I don't like him to lead the league in receiving yards. I think, does he get to 1,400? That's steep, particularly when you have Waddle, who can do a lot of things, and you have Gesicki, and you don't have a quarterback who drives the ball down the field. Look, the one thing with Tyreek Hill, they will get creative with him. They'll get him the ball in space. They'll throw those quick screens to him. He's going to have to break a lot of tackles and make a lot of big plays and short throws, because I don't think this is an offense that caters to him throwing down the field.
We talked about the offense a lot. Let's head over to the defense here. Through this head coaching change, they did decide to keep Josh Boyer as their defensive coordinator. A little curious what we can expect now from him now that Brian Flores is gone, and he can kind of tweak things a little bit there.
Yeah, and I think they will tweak things a little bit. They're going to be a little bit more aggressive. Maybe, and Brian Flores was very aggressive. You remember, when they played Baltimore on that Thursday night game last year, and they came after him and came after him and came after him. And I think you're going to see more of that from this scheme. In fact, Teron Armstead was talking about how many different looks that they're showing so far in the offseason against their offense. And he says it's tough for an offensive line when you have so many different looks up front and so many guys coming from so many different directions. It can be complicated. And another thing he mentioned was the team speed, and they can fly. They have a lot of guys who can really run to the football. The question is, are they good enough rushing the passer, which is why they went out and signed Melvin Ingram. He's a veteran. He comes in. He's not practicing now, but when he gets on the field, he's going to give them a tough physical presence. I don't know if he can rush the passer like he used to, but he will give them a tough physical presence up front to go with that defensive line. I think they're going to be good on defense. Again, it goes back to the bullseye like it always does, right to the quarterback.
Okay, so let's put it on Tua now. Let's talk about win totals. I know it was, an hour and a half this morning. You've been out there one day. Dolphins win total for the season, over under 8.5.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to get to that, but I look at the division. The Jets aren't really that good. I think New England's going to take a major step back. I think the Dolphins are the second team in the division as of right now, and I think they can get to 9. I don't know if they'll get to 10, but I think they can get to 9. So I would lean to the over, but barely. If Tua takes big steps, they get to 10 or 11. If he doesn't, then obviously they're going to be 7 or 8. But I think they're going to get to 9, so I'll take the over.
Okay, what about postseason? They're plus 140 to make it to the playoffs. They haven't been to the postseason since 2016. They have not won a playoff game since 2000, Pete. What about the Dolphins plus 140 to make the playoffs?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to get them into the postseason. I mean, you look around the landscape of the AFC, it's brutal. It is absolutely brutal. You talk about the Bills in their own division, might be the best team. I think they are the best team in the league. You look at the North. Any one of those teams, maybe with the exception of Pittsburgh, can make a playoff run. You look out west, that division is the best in football. So I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, even if they get to 9 wins.
Pete, bringing the truth out there from Davie, Florida. Got the sun on you. Pete, you look good. We'll talk to you soon, back when you head back to the inside. Pete Prisco makes an appearance on the Pick Six podcast occasionally. Their latest episode there with Will Brinson and crew. NFL regular season win totals for the NFC East. Make sure to. Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.